Hello everybody, it's me again, Herlene, and in today's vlog, I'm going to show you how much I spent on my nursing registration in New Zealand while I am here in Singapore working as a nurse. So if you're deciding to be a nurse in New Zealand and want to know how much it will cost you and how long the process is, watch this vlog, click like and subscribe as well to my channel. Okay guys, so in today's video, I'm just gonna do a voice over recording because I don't want to show my face. Alright, and in today's vlog, I'm gonna show you briefly what the process is. So first and foremost, we go to nursingcouncil.org.nz, the Nursing Council of New Zealand website. Yay! So over here, you can search on how to be a nurse in NC. Just click the drop down menu and you have options there like registration for Australian nurses and registration for international nurses. Oh my god, my pronunciation. Okay, for IQN, so internationally qualified nurses, if you hold a registration in a country other than Australia and meet the Nursing Council registration standards, you may apply to practice in New Zealand. Alright. Just remember guys that nurses registered in Australia follows a different process than those registered in other countries. So if you're registered outside of Australia, you need to apply as an internationally qualified nurse with other registration, non-Australian. And if you're happy and you know it, just start your application to the Nursing Council. And before you start your application, just read this stuff over here. It's the standards especially and the requirements. Okay, and then you will be assessed based on 7 standards. And you have to meet all those to make sure that you are safe, competent, and prepared to be a nurse in New Zealand. The documents required to meet these standards are also described in the CGFNS applicant portal. You can click that link over there, or you can actually go one by one. So first and foremost, identity. You must be able to prove that you are who you say you are. Another requirement is your English proficiency. So for you to be able to be registered in New Zealand, you must satisfy the council that you are able to communicate effectively in English. This is to protect the health and safety of the public. So the 2 English tests that the council considers are OET and IELTS. Okay, for your OET, you must achieve a minimum score of 350 for reading, listening, and speaking, and a minimum score of 300 for writing. And for IELTS, you have to have a score of 7 for reading, listening, and speaking, and a minimum score of 6.5 for writing. Just remember that you can actually sit over more than one sitting for your English test, but make sure that you must meet it within 12 months of the first sitting. Okay. Please note that the Nursing Council of New Zealand, however, does not currently accept online computer-based tests. But computer-based tests administered in an approved testing center are accepted. And do take note, guys, that some nurses educated or registered in certain countries can provide evidence of English language competence through their education or registration pathways. The full information on this is attached in this PDF. You can read on your own, guys. So you can be eligible in this pathway, guys, if your education that led to the registration as a nurse was taught and examined in English in the United States, Singapore, Ireland, Canada, or the United Kingdom. And the council may ask you to provide evidence of this, like your transcript of records from your education provider. And if you gained your nursing registration in United Kingdom, Ireland, Canada, or the United States of America that required you to pass an English test, then you may be eligible for this pathway as well. However, each application for an alternate English language evidence pathway is assessed on an individual basis and will only be granted at the sole discretion of the council. Do remember that this pathway may extend your assessment timeframe. If your application is declined, you will be required to demonstrate language proficiency through an approved English language test. The next criteria is your current registration. So you must have been registered or licensed as a nurse in the country where you received your nursing education, and also hold current registration or license in that or another country. You must also provide verification of good standing from all countries you have been and are registered with. Another important criteria is your nursing qualification, and it must be comparable to a Bachelor of Nursing degree in New Zealand. A bachelor degree is at level 7 on the New Zealand qualification framework. Nursing New Zealand will also check your post-registration experience, so you must be able to provide evidence that you have practiced nursing for at least 2 years within the last 5 years. And another important thing is that you must be able to demonstrate that you are fit for registration. You will be advised when to apply for your criminal history checks during the application process. Okay, so since August 1st, 2022, the Nursing Council will only require you to complete ICHC only for countries that you have lived in for 12 months or more in the last 7 years. And lastly, you must be able to demonstrate that you are competent to practice in New Zealand as a nurse. Most of internationally qualified nurses may be required to successfully complete a competency assessment program or CAP before they are given a New Zealand registration. But good news for those who hold a current registration in the United Kingdom, Ireland, Australia, Singapore, and the United States of America or Canada, because they may not need to complete a CAP because the registered nurse role and healthcare context in these countries is similar to New Zealand. Personally, I wasn't required to undergo a CAP because I work and I have a registration in Singapore. And now let's go to the registration process. So the registration process is actually a 3-step process. Firstly, you need to apply to CGFNS International, and they will assess your credentials. There's a link over there that you can click, and it will bring you to the CGFNS International portal. Once your credentials are verified, the CGFNS will generate a report, and then they will ask you to approve it, and they will send it to Nursing Council of New Zealand. And lastly, the Nursing Council of New Zealand will assess your application against the 7 registration standards and make a decision regarding your registration. You will be asked to make a declaration for fitness for registration and to complete a criminal history check. And after that, once you are registered, you will be asked to apply for an annual practicing certificate. And that's it. And now, the exciting part, guys, is to tell you how much I spent and how long it took me to become a registered nurse in New Zealand. So, I made this planner just to illustrate to you guys like how much I spent and how long it took me to complete the steps. So I have here my planner. Okay, I've included actually the eligibility for IQN nurses. Okay, so you must tick all the answers here so that you can become a registered nurse in New Zealand. This is your eligibility. Alright, and then I've actually included a summary of steps here for the process. The first step is to create an account on the CGFNS applicant portal. So if you click this PDF file over here, this link is clickable. Alright, if you click that, it will direct you to the Nursing Council of New Zealand CGFNS.org website, and like for example like that, it will show you this. Okay, make sure that you apply on this website, and once you are ready, just begin your application. So as a new user, just click the get started here. Then this will pop up on your desktop. Just make sure that you fill up all the details here and sign up. Okay guys, the next step is to complete your free applicant profile. Your applicant profile includes all your information, and just a tip for you guys, please prepare all the documents that you need so that it's easier for you when you are doing this part. Okay, so once you complete your free applicant profile, you purchase an order for the CVS-NCNZ, and it costs around 300 USD, or in SGD it costs around 407.11 SGD. In pesos is around 16,679.10. It's here. And then you'll receive an email letting you know what's the next step, especially on how to download the necessary forms. The forms will look something like this. This is an example of your nursing license or registration form. This is actually personalized to you with your name and to which institution it is addressed to. The next step is to upload all required authenticated identity documents. For this, you can submit a notarized copy of your passport and any other form of identification, and both documents must show your full current legal name with no abbreviations. And these are the accepted forms of identification. So for identity documents, which is step number 4, it costs me a total of 50 USD, or 1,389.93 pesos each, and I used the Notary Cam website for that. It is actually on the CGFNS portal as well. So the next step is for the authorities to send all the required forms to CGFNS. So for my school, I actually requested for a syllabus and a transcript, and my cousin actually requested that for me, and then it was sent over via a courier. So for the school documents, we requested on March 21st, 2022, and it completed on May 31st, 2022. And it took me around 71 days from the time I requested to the time it got completed. And with regards to my nursing registration verification, I had to request from 2 bodies. One from the Philippines, which is PRC, and a regional office from Iloilo, and the next one is from Singapore Nursing Board. So for my Philippine registration, my cousin processed it for me and it was couriered to CGFNS, the United States. So it cost me around 225 pesos for my Philippine registration plus the good standing, and for the courier service it was around 2,044 pesos. So that got completed in 52 days from the time we requested last March 21st. And for the Singapore Nursing Board verification, it was around 80 Singapore dollars or 3,282.71 pesos. So I requested that on March 11, 2022, and the process took around 49 days. So currently guys, the SNB processing time for the verification of your registration is now around 12 weeks or more from the date of receipt of your application and its fee. Okay, this duration excludes the time required for mailing, if applicable. So please take note of this processing time before submission of your applications. And of course, you have to get your employer to fill up the forms for you as well and then get it sent to CGFNS. But for me, here in Singapore, my employer does not fill up forms from CGFNS. So what I did was to submit a service request through the online portal and ask for the next steps that I need to do to be able to complete this part. And then support told me to just request a certificate of employment to be sent to CGFNS. And so I did that. I requested on March 8, 2022 and got it couriered for 3,487.88 pesos or 85 SGD, and it took about 64 days for this part of the process to be completed. So the next step is to provide an English language proficiency test result, and at first I got it waived because I initially thought that while I am working and currently have a registration here in Singapore, I do not need to provide an English language test. But then I had to take it at a later part because Nursing Council of New Zealand asked for it, and it cost around 587 AUD. And the last step is for your documents to be verified and reviewed by CGFNS International. And once it's done, they will generate a report for you to approve to be sent to NCNZ within 30 days. And so how much did I spend in this part of the process? So the total cost that I spent is around 55,087 pesos 0.44 cents, and in Singapore dollars is around 1,347.68 cents. So how long did I complete this process? So I completed this in 91 days. And that's it for part 1. Click like and subscribe, and watch out for part 2 guys, where I'll talk to you about my Nursing Council of New Zealand registration process and the total costs. So remember guys to apply now and apply as soon as possible because it will take months for your CGFNS verification process. Okay? Have a good day. Bye.